Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. They cut the water. They cut the water to a $35 million annual economy in Northern California. Why? So the fish can swim. They're removing dams, which means the reservoirs are gone. And lo and behold, ranchers, pear farmers, other agricultural farms have no water now to grow crops and to water the cattle. This is an outrage. Removing these dams, this Green New Deal coming out of California is disgusting to me. Gavin Newsom ought to be ashamed of himself, and yet he brags about it. We're going to talk about what's going on in Potter Valley on the program today. This, of course, is Stinchfield, and so great to be along with you today. With that, folks, I would offer this up. Let's get the show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, have any of you out there heard of Potter Valley? Potter Valley is northwest of Sacramento, north of San Francisco, and it is a ranching, farming community. And Grant Stinchfield here, by the way. So this ranching, farming community, like any ranching, farming community, depends on water. Do you know what PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, has recently done? They have abruptly canceled the water distribution to ranchers, cut water deliveries from a reservoir called Lake Pillsbury without warning right before the harvest and now right in the middle of fire season. So what do you think happens when PG&E cuts the water to these ranchers for, well, what I say is no reason. Their reasoning is to promote green energy and to save the fish, as Gavin Newsom would say. Well, this has left pastures parched, wells running dry. We've got fears of businesses are going to shut down, all because they are removing dams from this area. So local farmers say PG&E's sudden reduction of flows effectively nullified about 65 appropriative water rights. So there was water rights that were in place. And these legal claims to these water rights totally disregarded, say the farmers, by PG&E. Why? To save the fish. How do I know this is about saving the fish? Quite frankly, it's very simple. Because Gavin Newsom, in an address to California, explaining all of his successes, highlighted the Pillsbury Dam removal so they could save the fish and I guess ruin the farmers and put them out of business. Cut 15, please. Roll it. Cut 15.
This is the largest dam removal project in U.S. history. As I speak, the fish are now swimming freely for the first time in over 100 years. It shows you how resilient Mother Nature is, how resilient salmon are, and we were able to transfer some of the land that was underwater for decades and decades to tribes that have been there since time immemorial. Well, I don't know if it gets better than this. Went to Catholic schools as a kid, and here I am with the Pope.
Okay. So he just admits the fish are swimming again. Yet you have, what's the, let me see. I did a little research on this. You've got livelihoods of these folks here. That's a $35 million agriculture economy in the Potter Valley, $35 million. You've got 600,000 Californians that live in where the Potter Valley project and this Pillsbury Dam are, that they've now removed, cutting the water to these 600,000 people can't water the crops, can't water the cattle. So while the fish are swimming free, you want to hear what's happening to the people? Roll cut 13.
I just phoned in to have my water turned on, and they said there's no water. Every year we pay a little bit more and a little bit more, and it makes it really hard, and now this is just going to kill us.
There was no notice. It's a shock. We just found out. That well right over there is a hand-dug well, 160 years old. Every month when we irrigate, it refills our well up. Without any irrigation, that well will go dry. It has went dry in November. So I don't know what we're going to do. A lot of home wells around here, hand-dug wells. Everybody's affected in this valley. The pear growers, the cattle ranchers, it's going to dry up.
Yes, it's going to affect a lot of people. I just turned 88 in July, and I still go out and work hard, and I've got a good cowboy. He's got a ranch. It's going to affect him, too, all of us.
A couple of years ago, there was...
Pause. So this is pulling water from the people? I'm telling you, there are things that happen that I thought it can't get any worse. They can't. They hate people. Gavin Newsom's support of this taking down the dam, PG&E. And you know what the worst part is? PG&E wants the taxpayers to pay the $530 million for this project to remove the dams in Potter Valley. $530 million. So they want the taxpayers to pay for it while we take away your water. Does it get any more backwards with this? And yet I've got people calling in telling me things are looking bright for California. You had the governor take water away from 600,000 people. How is that bright, please? Somebody explain this to me. How is it looking up? Because if you're in Potter Valley right now, things ain't looking up. Roll cut 14.
Valley, I'm a fourth-generation pear grower. Last week, PG&E and FERC, without warning, decided to shut off the water to Potter Valley. I was in the middle of a pre-harvest irrigation to get my fruit up to marketable size. Within 1 year without water, these 110-year-old trees will no longer survive. They were planted with my great-grandfather, my grandfather, my father took over the ranch from him, and now I've taken it over and would like to hand it down to my children. If PG&E takes away the water from Potter Valley, my family farms will disappear. Shutting off the water prior to harvest made it a very difficult time for us. We're being informed right now that we may not be able to have a post-harvest irrigation. Pears, grapes, hay, sheep, cattle, other farmland will cease to exist.
Cease to exist. So here you have a $35 million agriculture industry, 600,000 people living in this area. Many of them are farmers and ranch hands and working in the industry. You're going to cut the water off in mid-season. That was a pear grower. They need water. I mean, if I understand it correctly, I'm not a fruit grower by any means. But if I understand it correctly, there's a certain portion of time where you need to overload it with water. You plump that fruit up. They stop that from happening. The way I look at it, these crops could be destroyed. How are you going to raise cattle if you have no water to then give to the cattle? You can't. What are the losses going to be if the cattle starts dying of dehydration? This is all 100% a big-time concern. And so it's more than Potter Valley. I use this one story as an example of what they are doing to destroy America. In the name of Green New Deal, in the name of preserving the fish and restoring salmon to the river there, they're going to ruin the livelihoods of all these people. And I'll ask you this. If you're there for 6 generations on a ranch or a pear farm, what do you do now? You don't have water coming to that land. That land is now worthless. So not only do they shut your water off and kill your crops and your cattle, but they just devalued your land to the point of you got nothing. They put you not only out of business, they're going to put these people in the grave. Now, this is a young lady who lives up in Potter Valley. She's been there for a long time. She has taken to Instagram, and she's been blowing the lid on this for a long time. It's what tipped me off to this. I just want to play a little bit of her because this is, when I talk about the fight that conservatives have in California, this is the fight. And I don't know if it's too late. It may be. But let's not stop fighting for people like this, for the stories of Potter Valley. Let's roll cut 12.
We're about to lose our water in Potter Valley, California, because our governor, Gavin Newsom, wants to be known as the greenest governor in America ahead of his presidential run. While the dams belong to PG&E, Gavin Newsom is taking full credit for the fact that they're about to be torn down. And there's already been an agreement in place to ensure that ratepayers and taxpayers will pay to have these dams removed. So not only are 600,000 people going to lose water and green energy when these hydroelectric plants are senselessly ripped out, we're also going to pay for the privilege. This is so that PG&E, again, Gavin Newsom's second highest donor, doesn't have to foot the cost for removing this vital infrastructure our rural community relies on. Since 2017, 2 of the 3 largest fires in California's state history have happened in this exact area. Both have been fought with water from the Potter Valley project. Farms and ranches are going...
Didn't we just go through a situation down here, Palisades fire, with empty reservoirs? Do you know this Lake Pillsbury, that the dam, make sure remains filled, is critical? That's the body of water she's talking about to fight fires. It will totally be depleted. The wildfire risks will go skyrocketing. The historic blazes will return. Federal intervention is now going to be necessary. The American taxpayer to the rescue of the Californian again. Okay? And guess who those ranchers are appealing to? The Trump administration. Please intervene. They're now urging the Bureau of Reclamation to take control of Lake Mendocino, another of the reservoirs. So they want this water security for rural regions. I'm telling you, this is going to do long-term damage, not just to that region, but all of California. This has got to be stopped. I would say call your lawmaker in California. Get them to weigh in on this. Choose people over fish. I can't believe we're saying that. But don't you think we need to choose people who invested their livelihoods, generations of growing food for us to eat, to survive? Isn't it about time we help save them? Let's get involved again. We'll fight this one. All right, I want to tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. Talk about supporting a company that believes in the things that we believe in, about freedom and American values and the ideals that this nation was founded on. That's what Patriot Mobile is about. And there are people that like to spend their money with companies like that. I'm one of them. It's why my phone is serviced by Patriot Mobile. I've got 2 lines from 2 different networks on this phone. You get to choose what network you want to be on, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, whatever it might be, but 100% U.S.-based customer service. And you know a portion of the proceeds made from every call you make go to support conservative causes like helping our veterans, fighting for gun rights and free speech and right-to-life issues. If you're not with Patriot Mobile, you're funding the woke left. So get 100% U.S.-based customer service, get a performance guarantee that is unlike any other, and stop funding the woke left, because that's what's happening every time you pay your cell phone company with a company that's not Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. That's the website I want you to go to. Use the promo code GRANT for a free first month service. 972-PATRIOT. 972-PATRIOT is the number. You tell them Grant Stinchfield sent you to get that free month service. I promise you, you're going to love Patriot Mobile. You're going to be so happy, and you're going to know you're with the official mobile phone provider of Stinchfield's Army. Well, Gavin Newsom is definitely following through with his plans to redistrict California in response to Texas redistricting its state to gain 5 new Republican seats. Texas currently has 25 Republicans, 13 Democrats. They want to eliminate that. -5 Democrats. California has 43 Democrats, 9 Republicans. They want to eliminate that to just for Republicans. Now, I think Texas should play the same game. Texas ought to say, you know what? As of right now, we said 5. No. We meant 10. And give Texas Democrats 3 seats. Heck, don't give them any seats. I don't care anymore about fairness. This is a war we're at. We're at a war for the soul of this nation, and it runs straight through the United States Congress via California and Texas. So Gavin Newsom made it clear that he doesn't care about Texas law. He's going to call a special session, he's going to call for a special vote. Legislature will pass that through. Here's Gavin Newsom last week.
And we'll be asking for the people on November 4th, the special election, coinciding with a lot of local municipal elections, to provide a temporary pathway for congressional maps. We will affirm our commitment to the state independent redistricting after the 2030 census, but we're asking the voters for their consent to do midterm redistricting in 2026, 2028, and 2030 for the congressional maps to respond to what's happening in Texas, to respond what Trump is trying to excite. And we'll do so in a way that also affirms our desire as a state to level the playing field all across the United States. We believe in a national independent redistricting framework. And we believe that's the right goal and the right thing to pursue.
All right, if it's so right, then why are you getting away from it? Now, again, I'll tell you this. You got to respect the guy's fight. He doesn't give up. He doesn't back down. I wish Republicans had the same gumption that Gavin Newsom has. Because this guy, boy, he gets creative. So what he doesn't tell you is, though, that he's going to have the legislature redraw the maps, which you're supposed to have an independent commission in California redrawing the map, and there's nothing independent about it. He's going to take conservative areas of California and slice them up so they'll be represented by hardcore Democrats. And so I would say this. Because of ballot harvesting, because of drop boxes, because of mail-in ballots without a chain of custody, because of questionable ballot curing, this is how the 2024 election gave California Democrats 43 Democrat seats and 9 Republican seats. And I would say this, because of a bogus census, Californians have that many seats to offer up in Congress. The census was flawed. It is now agreed upon by both Republicans and Democrats. The census was flawed. This is why President Trump wants to have a new census, and you watch. That will take away seats from California. California, we know, has had a mass exodus. They don't have as many people. But if you're counting illegals in the census, well, then all of a sudden, your land is bloated with people. Now, Eric Swalwell, the congressman who slept with a Chinese spy, another Adam Schiff wannabe. He's out there on the front lines fighting. This is what he had to say about the redistricting effort. Excuse me, cut 11.
No, when they go low, we're going to bury them below the Capitol. That's what we're going to do, because this is about protecting democracy. And right now, as you see, D.C. has been militarized, and we were weak as Democrats, frankly. We passed under Speaker Pelosi in the House of Representatives in April 2021 D.C. statehood. And what happened in the Senate? A few in the Senate refused to break the filibuster, and look where we are today. So we have paid the price for our weakness in the past, and we can't be so weak next time we have power. Gavin Newsom is making Donald Trump react to him with the lawsuits, with this new map to match what's happening in Texas. And the way I see it is either we're on our heels and the most vulnerable are on their heels reacting to Donald Trump, or he's on his heels reacting to us.
I can't take any more of that guy. All right, so let's go through what he says. We'll bury them below the Capitol. Now, if a Republican had said that, they would have accused of inciting violence. Nobody's inciting any violence. But that's Eric Swalwell for you. And then the key word, their little go-to we're protecting democracy. Protecting democracy, you're doing the exact opposite. You're literally changing the California Constitution to upend democracy as we know it. That's about the most hypocritical thing they could said. And then he throws in that D.C.'s been militarized when literally the people of D.C. are thanking President Trump for finally taking control of a city that was under attack by the thugs, thieves, and bruisers. So again, Swalwell, way out of line. But this redistricting thing, it's going to take a fight. A big-time fight. As I said, we're getting word of these maps coming out that shows 5 different seats will be redistricted. You could get Doug LaMalfa, Kevin Kiley, David Valadao, Ken Calvert, and Darrell Issa all being redistricted out of office. I think one of the most troubling is that you're going to get this radical leftist who endorsed George Gascon, Congressman Robert Garcia, to quite possibly represent Huntington Beach and Newport Beach by these maps. Can Democrats be stopped? I want to bring in current Orange County Supervisor Don Wagner to the program, of course, a Republican. Supervisor Wagner, it's great to have you on the show.
Good morning, Grant. Great to be back with you.
So I guess the question is, how do we stop Gavin Newsom from getting a special election to put this redistricting on the ballot to counter what Texas is doing?
How do we stop him? We stop him exactly as you just outlined. We point out the utter absurdity of some of these districts. The Doug LaMalfa district that you mentioned at the very top of the state includes, Humboldt and Del Norte and all of those counties up along the Oregon border and bordering over in Nevada, and then it sweeps in Marin. Why does it sweep in Marin? Because that's where in that district the Democrats are. So it skews that district. The Kevin Kiley district you mentioned has got rather compact rural Republican areas, and then what's been described as like a little elephant's trunk sneaking out and sweeping into what the most Democratic parts of Sacramento County to skew that district. Robert Garcia, very left, very much fits with the L.A. mold, comes down into Orange County and Newport Beach, but retains the population center up in Long Beach. It's unfair, and the people of California can look at it and see that it was a partisan gerrymander, and they're not having it. The good news is right now, polling shows over 60% of Democrats oppose this gerrymandering. Get that word out. Get the fact that they're changing the rules in the middle of the game out, and the public will see through this political gambit.
I can't wait to see whatever they name this this proposal that they're going to put to a vote. I'm sure it will be Redistricting Fairness Act of 2025, something that people will read and say, oh yeah, well of course we want it fair, and then of course it's nothing, it's not even close to being fair. But again, I guess the question comes, we can inform people about this all we want and get people to vote against it. That's one way. I've got to believe there's another way. So I was talking to State Representative Tangipa, who's a young man up there, seems to be a real conservative fighter. He says we've got to take this battle into the courts. And in the courts, we've got to say these lawmakers that are now pushing this new map are doing it to benefit themselves and figure out a way that we can sue them because what they're doing is benefiting themselves rather than benefiting the public.
Well, with respect to Mr. Tangipa, that's a really heavy lift, unfortunately, and I'll tell you why. You start with, if you do that in California court system, our entire Supreme Court, 6 of the 7 were appointed by either Jerry Brown or Gavin Newsom, and I have no real hope there. Can you go to the federal courts? Well, there are perhaps some Voting Rights Act issues that are out there, but you need to realize 2 things. The Constitution very clearly says the time and manner of holding elections will be left to the states. And back in 2019, the Supreme Court came up with a decision that frankly says, and I'll paraphrase it, but it says the federal courts have no jurisdiction to consider politically gerrymandered districts. And so those are two strikes against us already in the federal courts.
But you're thinking about
We've got to beat
winning.
this at the ballot box. We've got to beat this at the ballot box.
Well, yeah, but Supervisor, you're thinking about ultimately winning the court case. I don't care about winning the court case. All I care about is holding it up. But by Mr. Tangipa's account, Gavin Newsom has 2 weeks to make this happen. If he can't make it happen in 2 weeks, the clock ticks out. We all know how long it takes court cases. If we can get someone to issue an injunction, run the clock out. It doesn't matter whether or not we have a legitimate argument or not. Just run the clock out in the courts. Not a good idea.
I'm looking at winning it in the long run, and if you're unable to show a probability of success on the merits, it's hard to get an injunction. I wouldn't stop anybody filing a lawsuit and coming up with colorable claims, because this is an absolutely shameless power grab, and it is taking power away from the people and giving it to Gavin Newsom's politicians in Sacramento. Public shouldn't stand for it, and if we can stop it, we've got to try. And I've been out every day since this was announced, talking about it and trying to rally support against this terrible idea.
Clearly, we're going to have to get creative and probably attack this thing from all fronts. Supervisor Don Wagner down in Orange County, always putting up a great fight down there. We appreciate that. Why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Don Wagner, follow me at Don Wagner, CA. Real easy.
All right. Sounds good, sir. Thank you so much for coming on. Always a pleasure. So this fight, folks, will continue. And I think you got to battle it from all fronts. What do the Democrats do? The Democrats sue baseless claims. They hold stuff up in court. And for years, we're fighting these battles. All the while, they run ramshot and do whatever they want to do. Why don't we play their game a little bit? Also, while we work to get people to vote against this, too, I think we got to be coming at this from every single direction. All right, how often do I tell you about the wellness company? TWC.health/Grant. Use promo code GRANT. We're looking at the possibility of 250% tariffs on prescription medications. Wouldn't it be nice if you had the most common prescription medications in your home already? That's what this kit will do for you from the wellness company. You got to be ready for anything. TWC.health/Grant. That's the number and website, the website to go to. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off. And then parasites. Man, they are all over the United States. I'm halfway through my parasite cleanse. My energy is up. My mind is clearer than ever before. Do you want these worms crawling around your body? Folks, seriously, that's in a piece of salmon at the grocery store. You eat that, that gets into your body. They take up residence in your brain, in your spine, organs, you name it. It's absolutely disgusting. Well, this parasite cleanse has been sold out 3 times by the wellness company. Mebendazole and ivermectin compounded in one pill. You take one pill for 20 days, and the next thing you know, you're feeling better. 60 million Americans suffer from parasites. If you have a pet, the likelihood of you having parasites is great. So you just go online, twc.health/Grant, fill out that form. Doctor will get back to you. And you'll get this great parasite cleanse that has helped me. twc.health/Grant. Use the promo code GRANT. So many other great products on the website there I want you to check out. twc.health/Grant. Doctors you can trust, critical thinkers. They're going to help you stay healthy. Okay, in Washington, D.C., President Trump and 1,800 personnel, 22 multi-agency teams, have made pushing close to 300 arrests, maybe more now by the time the final count is, taking off dozens and dozens of guns off the streets. But one thing I want to talk about are the 25 homeless encampments they have already cleaned up in just 2 days. In 2 days, they cleaned up these encampments. They count 70 total. So can't Los Angeles do this? Los Angeles County do this? Why can't we clean up homeless encampments? Well, I believe Los Angeles County can do it because I've seen it happen before, much to the dismay of county commissioners. But the man behind cleaning up the homeless encampments was, of course, then Sheriff Alex Villanueva, who is, of course, running for sheriff again, and he is my guest this morning. Sheriff, it's great to have you back on the program.
Yeah, good to hear from you, Grant. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Sheriff. So I thought this would be a great topic to ask you personally about because you set out to clean up these homeless encampments. First off, why don't you tell me the challenges involved here in California and what you see going on in D.C., and is there any relation to what you tried to do to what they're trying to do?
Well, I can see that when there's a will, there's a way. And the problem in L.A. is there is no will whatsoever because the political establishment has decided that they're our unhoused Angelino neighbors. They're not people coming from all over the country to get the freebies, enjoy the homeless lifestyle, which is rewarded here in L.A. They don't want to stop that gravy train from rolling. So the problem persists. But when we do, like we did in Venice Beach, like we did in Olvera Street, when everyone works together, yes, we can clear up the encampments, get people out into shelters or on their way out of L.A. It can be done.
All right, so how easy or hard is it to do? So let's use Venice Beach as a great example because that area was overrun with homeless. I'm seeing homeless creep back into that area, obviously. But when you went in there, it was overrun. How hard was that to clean up?
Not at all. We have a 5-step protocol that we follow with the Sheriff's Department, our homeless outreach service team, and they have never failed to clean up an encampment. They'll make an arrest, don't have to use force. It's basically showing people the door, saying this is not acceptable, and they clean it up after they identify it. They do outreach to each person, get them suitable housing, or send them on their way to another state.
And what do? Do you give them warning? Do you hand out flyers first? Hey, you got 24 hours to get out of here?
Well, the 5-step process involves identifying the location first, doing the assessment, doing the outreach, then posting a notification that at this point in time, this encampment is going to be cleared up, and then execute that warning. And that's what the city doesn't do is they say, we're going to clean it up. What they do is they just tell everybody to move across the street while they clean it up, and they move right back in. So you don't achieve anything. And we do it very, very different.
You know, in many respects, I think the warning is a courtesy because you really don't have to warn them, especially now with the recent Supreme Court ruling that says you can enforce no camping laws on the streets. There's no requirement to warn you. You're being nice about it, correct?
Pretty much, yeah. That ruling definitely clarified the legal standing in terms of cleaning up the encampments, and it's all about the political will. But these people, they use them as pawns. They use them as the homeless industrial complex to generate money for the nonprofits. So you have activists that go out there rushing to defend encampments from being cleaned up. Imagine that.
Do you think what's happening in D.C. with President Trump arresting all these people very quickly, or at least his people, federal agents, 1,800 people taken to the streets, 22 teams, arresting all these criminals, getting guns off the streets, getting homeless encampments off the streets at a very quick pace? Is it embarrassing for cities like L.A., counties like L.A., to see how quickly a city like D.C., which was pretty much a very dangerous city, can start the process of cleaning up?
For normal people, it should be embarrassing, but when you're dealing with L.A., you're not dealing with normal people anymore. They have their own political culture that absolves them of any responsibility for the outcome of the policies that they enforce. Look at when I cleaned up Venice and I shamed the city in basically helping out. Their reaction was, how dare you? That was literally their reaction instead of a simple thank you, which we got from the residents and the business owners of Venice.
All right, this is interesting because I would imagine if you paid millions of dollars for one of those either townhomes or condos or houses right near the water down there on Venice Beach, and now you got homeless people out in front, those people are probably so grateful that you cleaned that up. Just as in I'm seeing sound bites from from residents of D.C., mostly people of color, who are grateful for the police and the feds coming in and cleaning up. And yet, I see what? A bunch of white liberals marching in the streets, probably none of them from D.C., denouncing what's happening. Similar to what happened to you?
Pretty much identical. Yep, history repeats itself.
What's the biggest challenge for the Washington, D.C., for the District of Columbia Police Department with a federal takeover? That's got to pose some challenges to brass, to line items, chain of command issues. Do you see it working right now, or what's your assessment of that?
Well, it kind of can work initially only because there was an absence of law enforcement. I mean, they're severely understaffed, so, a lot of laws were not being enforced. And so a takeover and you flood the area with agents, it'll help initially, but in the long run, is sustainable. And that's the big key that needs to be addressed by the federal government, by the White House, by the D.C. Police folks and the mayor. How is it sustainable? How you can have a productive working relationship until you stabilize the workforce and get enough cops hired back, and then you can normalize law and order. Imagine that. I have to say that we have to normalize enforcing law and order.
It is amazing. It should be a complete nonpartisan issue. Just enforce the laws on the books. You want to change the laws, then change the laws. But law enforcement's job is to enforce the laws on the books. A cop should be nonpartisan. A sheriff should be nonpartisan. When it comes to that, enforcing the laws, we're not seeing this. Lastly, before I let you go, and we're talking to Sheriff Alex Villanueva, former L.A. County Sheriff, now running for L.A. to be the next L.A. County Sheriff. There's this term, no cash bail. I said it's somewhat confusing because you could relate that to being, okay, well, I arrest you. I'm not going to give you bail. I put you in jail and lock you up. It's the complete opposite. No cash bail means that you can't post a bail. We just let you go. So I came up with a new phrase. You ready for this, Sheriff?
Go ahead.
All right. No bail. Let them sail. And that says just set them free.
That's a good one. I think the other one they have out there already is catch and release.
Yeah, well, catch and release is the best. That also is hurting L.A., isn't it? We're still suffering from that, correct?
Definitely, because there's no accountability among the criminal community. They see there's no consequence, so they get bolder and they keep engaging activity which would be outrageous in the past. Imagine stealing a car, loading it up with your friends, then ramming it through the front of a business, destroy the business, loot the business, and laugh walking away. Who would have thought of that just, 5 years ago, let alone 10 or 20 years ago?
Unbelievable. Sheriff Alex Villanueva, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Yes, our website for that campaign is alexvillanueva2026.com. You can catch me on social media, Sheriff Villanueva 33.
All right, sounds good. We appreciate you, Sheriff. Thanks for calling in. That, folks, sums up. It can be done. The problems can be fixed. All it takes is common sense and the will to do it, something liberals don't have either of. All right, Energized Health has literally changed my life. I am now hydrated at a cellular level. Do you think at 56 years old, you get muscles like that? I'm bragging because I'm happy, man. I feel like I could compete with a high schooler out there. How is this the case? Intracellular hydration. Getting hydrated at a cellular level, the science behind it. I want you to go to energizedhealth.com. Look at the master class there. It'll explain to you why this program works. And then sign up. And when you do, you're going to be so happy. You're going to shed fat like you wouldn't believe. I know many of you are looking to lose weight. Some people, hundreds of pounds. They can help you do this in a very fast but easy manner. And I don't like to use the word easy, but I don't know how else to describe it. No crazy diets, no crazy workout scenarios. Just getting hydrated at a cellular level and doing things in a common sense fashion. Energized Health is going to help you get your life back together. This is a mind, body, soul program based in science, and yes, I will say it, biblical principles. EnergizedHealth.com. That's EnergizedHealth.com. Make sure you tell them that Grant Stinchfield sent you. There is no greater woke radical warrior than this Zohran Mamdani, who's running for New York mayor. I think what's happening in New York City, states like California, Illinois, certainly New York where he's running, left-wing places that are seeing the explosion, the popularity of a radical. Now, even I am guilty of this. I have been very quick to call Mamdani a communist. I do believe that is what he is, but I saw an article in The Blaze, and I thought, you know, they make a very decent point. When you call this guy a communist, I refuse to use the term Democrat socialist. It's a ridiculous term. That is a communist. But we're embracing these Cold War era style titles. And it is beyond that. And if you really break down what the communists of the Soviet Union wanted, though there are some similarities, they were also very different. What Mamdani is about is a cultural revolution. Okay? Yes, he wants government in control like a government does. Yes, he's talked about having government take over the means of production and taking over grocery stores and all of these things and having government-owned grocery stores. But in the end, beyond that, it's worse. He wants to break up the family. I'm not sure even the Communist Party in socialist Soviet Union wanted to break up the family. I certainly know that the communists of the Soviet Union did not embrace the gender ideology that Mamdani embraces. He wants New York City to pay for gender transition surgeries for children. Okay? That doesn't make any sense. And so he wants, of course, wealth redistribution, taking money from the rich, giving it to the poor to buy votes. But when you look at the radicalism of his woke ideology, this is woke mania. And the reason he gets away with it is because the woke maniacs are embedded in the media, in government, in our educational systems, and they embrace Mamdani. When we're all looking at, like, okay, well, President Trump has really set America back on track. People have got to be waking up to the woke mistake of diversity, equity, and inclusion and what that means and the destruction it causes. And yet now you see a guy winning. He's like 60% in the polls. Part of me is still hopeful that New Yorkers will see the light and realize a guy like this can't win. But he wants to eliminate private property. Private property is one of the most fundamental values of a free market, free society, is that you can own something. He doesn't want you owning anything. Let's go to cut 28. Dan, the phone man. Play that one for me.
My platform is that every single person should have housing. And I think faced with these two options, the system has hundreds of thousands of people unhoused, right? For what? And if there was any system that could guarantee each person housing, whether you call it the abolition of private property or you call it, just a statewide housing guarantee, it is preferable to what is going on right now. Mm-hmm. And I think that people try and play like gotcha games about these kinds of things. And it's like, look, I care more about whether somebody has a home.
The abolition of private property, he says it. And so what does he want to do? He wants everyone to have a house. Well, how do you think everyone's going to get a house? He's going to have rich people increase their taxes. And, in New York City, you pay a city income tax. So you're going to have rich people pay more taxes. And what do you think will happen? People will leave that city. It's the bottom line. We're seeing a flee from California. Wealthy folks are leaving. The uber wealthy may hang around for a while because they have so much money it doesn't matter until the point that it does. But many upper middle class folks are leaving California. They're fleeing for greener pastures. Eliminate private property? Now, has Mamdani even talk to business leaders, investors about the legitimacy of this even working? Or does he just think money grows on trees? I think he thinks money grows on trees. It's how most Democrats think. This is Kevin O'Leary, the guy from Shark Tank, who's been a fabulous voice for freedom lately. Cut 29.
It's starting to smell a little bit like the sixth week of the general election when Kamala Harris refused to put out any policy and just kept, reiterating the same rhetoric over and over again. He's doing the same thing. I'm not getting any policy. I'm one of many investors that have asked his staff for a meeting to get some idea on how he's planning to do this affordable housing thing. I would love to be part of that as an investor, but not if this rhetoric is true, because he won't be able to raise any money. He's offering free everything. Well, that doesn't work in real estate. You have to give investors a market return. I would hope someone on his staff would explain that to him. If not, I can do it for them. But if he doesn't do that, he's going to run into a lot of brick walls, or he's going to charge 150% tax to get everything free in New York, which also isn't going to work.
No, because people will end up leaving. So when you think about diversity and equity and inclusion, this goes far beyond a communist. Look, even communist regimes, and there was crime in communist Moscow, okay? They still embraced a nuclear family. You look at family in Russia. Soviet Union back then was very, very strong to maintain what they wanted to be a social order. Now, by no means am I defending communism, but I'm telling you that Mamdani's ideology goes far beyond a communist ideology. It undermines family. It undermines faith. It undermines tradition. It undermines all of these things. Here's what else it does. Communists, they had an iron fist of government, right? You had your Gestapo in Italy. You had the secret police in the Soviet Union. He wants to do the opposite of that. He wants to do away with police. No police. He doesn't believe in violent crime. And if you don't believe in violent crime, that nothing is actually violent, then what in the world do you need police for? But he's not going to let you protect yourself. It is a total destruction of society as we know it, and yet New York's embracing it. Now, you don't think he doesn't understand the danger of violence? Listen to Mamdani, cut 30.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence. That is violence of the highest degree.
You know what's violence of the highest degree? He doesn't even tell you that putting a gun in someone's belly and stealing their purse is a violent crime. Do you want a gun pointed at you? I thought we were over this defund the police movement. I thought that liberals were onto it, that they realized this isn't working. Yet apparently not. Mamdani, he's running for mayor in New York, could be running for mayor in L.A. Sounds the same as all of these politicians. At least there's some common sense out there. I never give up a chance to play Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana. Cut 27, please.
There is a split in the Democratic Party unless you have the IQ of a meat thermometer. You can see that. On the one hand, you have the mainstream wing of the party. On the other side, you have the what I call the loon wing of the party. The loon wing is winning. They're fighting like cats in a bag, but the loon wing is winning. Nobody pays any attention to what Obama or Clinton or Pelosi or Schumer or Jeffries says anymore. The leaders are Mr. Mamdani and Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders. Yeah. And yes, they're socialists, neo-socialists.
Mamdani, by the way, okay, we got it. Mamdani, by the way, who literally, like Hillary Clinton, like Kamala Harris, uses different accents for different audiences. He's a phony, fake fraud who wants to destroy society. You don't believe me? Cut 31. Roll it.
New Yorkers, more than they hate a politician they disagree with, they hate a politician they can't trust.
On the subject of trust, you've adopted different speaking accents in different scenarios.
But they go to their local bodega.
Is there one that's real and one that's affected?
What I would say is, as any immigrant knows, having been born in Kampala, Uganda, and then raised in South Africa and moving here when I'm 7 years old, is there are different parts of my life.
Worldwide tour is a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour.
Mamdani was talking about a worldwide press tour back when he was a rapper.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice.
In a Disney movie directed by his mother.
Nepotism and hard work goes a long way. Here in New York City, this is how I speak, this is how I am.
Do you believe in the First Amendment, Tom Homan?
Yeah. All right. In New York City, that's how he speaks. He speaks with an Indian accent if he's talking to East Indians. He talks with an Arab accent if he's talking to Muslims. And then he talks like a normal New Yorker if he's talking to the media. This guy, again, a phony, fake fraud with a capital PH, phony. All right, that's going to do it for Stinchfield today. We will see you tonight on the Real America's Voice show. It's so great having you on with me today. Stinchfield 1776 on all the social media platforms. Anywhere you're watching this, please like the video, share the video, even if that's copy and pasting the address of the video and tweeting it out or truthing it out. Please, this is how we get the message across. And if you're on Rumble, Facebook, Getter, or YouTube, hit the subscribe button, the like button, and follow me. Again, we're taking this country by storm thanks to you. Stinchfield's Army rolls. We'll see you again tonight on the Real America's Voice show.